is 8 minutes after the hour is 6 o'clock on this, the 18th day of January 2024. Thank you so much for joining us on the Power Breakfast Show and Power 102 Digital. Of course, it's the hours this morning. Yep. You just heard from Paul Richards. We'll hear from Richard Ragoobarsingh. We got Shane and Ruben in the mix. My name is Steve Kine. Let's get straight into the WTs, see what's happening weather and traffic-wise. Let's see. I'll just do a fresh, see if anything new is happening. And I'm still waiting for it. So let me do another fresh on it. By the time I'll give you, it's telling me wait now. I'll do weather. It is 23 degrees at Payako International Airport, 26 at Crown Point in Tobago. What the weather is going to be like for today, they said predominantly sunny and breezy with 1 or 2 brisk showers in a few areas. All right, so that's your weather for today. Traffic-wise, let's see. You got some traffic approaching Payako Lights, Trin City to UE, and then from Currap, just after the Currap interchange, you're going to get some traffic. There is an accident to tell you about, some minor accidents. It is westbound by, just after El Sicuro. All right? It's a minor one, so that should be cleared up. Apart from that, straight to the Port of Spain, no problems. Out of Marval, beginning to build out of nothing, out of Diego Mountain, going to Kelly Village, you've got some traffic. I got another accident to tell you about. I'll tell you about that in a sec. San Fernando, you have nothing. Solo, heading northbound. Let's see. Not too bad until after Freeport. You're going to get some traffic. Chase Village, you've got some traffic there. And it's telling me there is another accident on the Solo. It is, where are we? No, it's not on the Solo. It's on the Southern Main Road. It's running parallel towards Sugar Guanas. So that's going to create a little traffic there. Sugar Guanas Main Road is beginning to build. All right. Let's use that as hellos first thing this morning. We love that on YouTube. We've got Oliver Man Warren, Wayne B. in Covington, Georgia, Ewart Rajpal, Doreen Pear. Good morning, Doreen. Marcia Rock out in Florida, Wendy and James, Trinidad Margo out in Florida. Watching us on Facebook. Slick Money Grip. Beefy Smith out in Goodwood, Tobago. Good morning. Carol Guevara, how art thou? All right, on WhatsApp, let's see. I have Sunny San Fernando. Good morning to you, Sunny. Hope all is well. All right. Let's say good morning going out to Dr. Paul Richards.
Morning, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Good Thursday morning to you. This week flew by pretty quick, boy. Wow.
Yeah, morning, buddy. Hope all is well. I did not get
me, but there was a fire in Port of Spain this morning. So
I saw you send some Observatory Street.
Yeah, I called the Besser Street police station and they confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the officer almost buffed me. I should have recorded.
Why you buff you?
But I called Belmont first, and Belmont said it's not their jurisdiction, but they did confirm there was a fire. So he told me to call the Belmont officer, told me to call Besser Street, which I did. The officer answered Besser Street police station. I said, yes, good morning. I'm calling from the media to find out, to confirm if there was a fire in Port of Spain this morning. And he asked me, telling me. I said, I'm asking you, sir. I said, okay then. I said, I'm asking you for confirmation. Is that okay? Yeah, there was a fire. I said, could you tell me if anyone was injured? There are no reports of injuries. Could you tell me how many places were destroyed? 3 houses. Like 1 word answers, 2 word answers. I said, is there any other information you can share this time? Officers from the fire service and police are on the scene. Hear me? Thank you so much. Have a good day. Yeah. Okay. All right, buddy.
I don't know,
Sorry for disturbing you, buddy.
He's probably having 2 shrimp, but
I don't know what he was having, but he didn't sound in an unpleasant mood, and he sounded quite alert and awake, which are quite good, you know.
What
The
time was
Belmont
that you
police
called?
station officer was actually very cordial. You know, he said, "Yes, there's a fire. There was a fire in Port of Spain, and officers are on the scene here. But if you could kindly call Besser Street, it's not our jurisdiction," which is so pleasant. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
When you call Besser Street, I get Mr. Grumpy. So, but he said to his information, the information he had at hand, no one was injured, to his knowledge. But I saw it on a TikTok video earlier, but I didn't know whether it was new or old. And I heard on the video they were saying they need to get the old people out, which suggested they were elderly people living in the building.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a big fire to me. It looked like a big fire. Some of these videos are old or new, so you know.
Yeah.
So that is engaging the attention of the authorities at this time, and
that shooting that I heard about in your newscast in
very weird, eh?
Spring Village. I'm trying to.
Very weird.
I didn't see the
condolences to the family of PC Harnarine. He was killed in this very strange occurrence. He was attacked at traffic in Harripet Road branch. He was in his car with a female companion, and two attackers approached and began shooting, which sounds very targeted to me. The woman got out and jumped into another car. Sounds a little set up for me. You know, I don't know. It's really unfortunate. And condolences to his colleagues in the TTPS.
Yeah, but you said it's also murder number 30 for the year 2024. Today is 18 days in.
Yeah. Very interesting. The business community, AmCham held a forum yesterday at the Hyatt Regency, the Economic Outlook Forum 2024. AmCham, for those of you who may not know, is the American Chamber of Commerce TNT chapter. And its president, Stuart Franco, said government should go after big fish, which big fish in Trinidad and Tobago are already people who are posing as legitimate business, who are already funding the illegal drug and gun business in the country. He said that government should be going after them more, which is refreshing from the business community to make that kind of statement. And that the police need to do more in terms of data analytics to predict and present flare-ups after initial crimes are committed by gangs. He also said that they did a survey across 9 different business sectors, and 18% of business owners have been asked to pay bribes, I guess, to get stuff done through agencies. It sounds like state agencies to me, because they have to interface with state agencies a lot more. You understand? And 57% say they're spending more on security and insurance because of crime. I'm not surprised by that. Nobody's going to be surprised by that. I'm surprised more aren't paying more for security. But I guess it depends on the nature of your business and where your business may be located. If it's an online business or if it's a brick and mortar business. So, you know. And then Ian Chinapu, who is Guardian Holdings Limited CEO. I met him a couple of times when he was, I think it was chair at UTC, Unit Trust. Very, very smart guy. He lashed out at both the PNM and the UNC and saying politicians are taking a beating because of their failure to collaborate and hold discussions on crime. He said he was very disappointed that they should be putting country first. And he was very disappointed the PNM UNC have not had these crime talks yet. Mr. Chinapu, they have no crime talks.
No. Forget it. It ain't happening. It's not happening.
As I said, I will talk, but they are all congratulating the UNC for the
having their forum,
anti-crime forums that they started, which we did also. Well, the Prime Minister supposed the PNM is supposed to have a meeting this evening in San Juan, not so?
The Kwesi in San Juan.
At the Kwesi in San Juan.
Yeah.
And the Prime Minister at the mixer that you all went to said he'll be talking about these crime discussions. I saw more clips coming out of the St. Joseph discussion with Michael Anisette, I should say, and Wendell Fields, both making contributions and both commending the UNC for having these stuff. I mean, how can they be bad? Yes, there'll be some level of politicization, but I much congratulate the UNC for having these, because it will give the public a chance to interface and provide their experiences. You understand? In terms of, I mean, I'm sure everybody has had incursions with criminals by this point in some way or another, or family members who've had, or friends and colleagues who've had. And I mean, they need to do more. They need to be more effective. I mean, just talking about it, and day 18, 30 murders. I mean, we're just off to a disgusting start already. So, you know, so whether or not you say it's politicized, and I'm sure it will be politicized because it's under the banner of a political party, and it's an opposition party at that. I think there's still some value to it, and we can only hope that that when it goes into different areas, PNM MPs, if they are the MPs for the area, also attend, because the MP for St. Joseph is Terrence Deyalsingh.
Yeah.
But of course, one would understand why Minister Deyalsingh will not go to the forum, because you relics. You understand? So, but I mean, the ruling party, which is the PNM, needs to step up, because your policies and initiatives in the agencies which you have now to have charge of as the government are not bearing the kind of fruit that the country is satisfied with.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. We are not satisfied. We are dissatisfied. And you could deflect about the law, which is not an invalid point, but it really comes down to more effective policing and law enforcement. It just comes down to that. You know? I said I saw a clip also of Inchan Ishmael mouthing off as usual, posing a figurative threat to Mrs. Pasabi Sessa. Apparently, she made some comment about the guard boot in Bamboo, and he said that if anyone gets robbed in Bamboo, he will release her files. And he says he knows everything. Rolls eyes.
Yeah, rolls eyes.
Please. He's just another loudmouth. That's what he is. He's very little credibility, in my opinion.
So she's going to hold them to ransom.
Yeah. But not tonight.
That kind of
but not tonight.
way of thinking.
Well, you all know how I feel, so.
Yeah. You do. Because, I mean, we were having a conversation. I picked up somebody yesterday. And we were having a convo in the car. And we were talking about Trinidad. And I was saying how I know a few people that just have planned to migrate this year because of crime situation. Some work.
It's not an uncommon story.
Yeah. Some work. Some have their own private businesses. And said they just, you know, one said, a friend of mine said he'll sell out. Another one said he'll run it remotely because he has a good staff. And, you know, and we were chatting about how we have to lock up all the time. You know, people not going anywhere. Carnival is coming around. Some fetes already have been cancelled. And we know about the BPTT and Digital that pulled out of events. And we also spoke about the so-called crime talks that we know that will not happen.
Well, I don't have any hope for them. Well, those crime talks that they proposed, crime talks between the government and opposition, they both go into the House of Representatives tomorrow, by the way. And I think on the agenda is the lie detector debate, which Minister Hines told us about when we spoke to him on Monday, that he was asking for opposition support. The lie detectors are very controversial.
Yeah.
Lie detector tests, I should say, are very controversial. They're not very reliable, and any basic defense attorney could bust holes through because they're so varied in results from one person or one test or one environment to the other. You know, so they're very controversial.
Yeah. Let's say
People use them as screeners, but they don't really do stand up too well in court.
no, they could find loopholes in that. 23 minutes after 6 o'clock. Good morning to DJ Ray out in Tampa, CJ in New York, Ronald Pierre, Brent Sylvester, Randy Kelly, Ingrid Adams out in Tucson, Arizona. Ingrid Adams is in Brooklyn. Yes, it's very cold there. Oh, I didn't give temps. Sherwin Kerr, good morning. Terrence Brown as well. Good morning to you, Val and Dan Raj. I did not give the temps. Someone is telling me on WhatsApp I didn't give the temps. It is -8 in Toronto. I know that New York and so on are going to get some snow. Detroit, Buffalo, New York, Washington, Boston going to get some snow. 22 in Miami. Orlando, you're at 9. New York, you're at -6. Wow. Atlanta, you're at -5. London, -3. Whoa. Tampa, DJ Ray, you're at 9. Chris Doucet, you're -6 in Washington, D.C. Wow. Good morning, Richie Rich.
Hi, good morning, guys.
What's shaking? What's shaking?
I'm good, and good morning to our listeners wherever you are, and viewers, of course.
Good morning, Richard. You know, Terrence Brown, good morning. Terrence Brown is I'm going to put it up because it's pretty interesting. Terrence Brown said, I'm trying to understand what time crime talks can achieve that Parliament can. Parliament has a particular construct. Parliament is to amend and pass laws. A closed-door meeting between the government and the opposition with no media and no public attention for the political theatrics, I think is because they both in principle agree to these talks and are sticking on minor details about who's attending and who's chairing, right? Well, not minor, because I don't find them minor details. They're significant details about who's attending and who's chairing. But one cannot discount what can happen within those closed doors if they're able to have frank and honest, productive discussions out of the public glare and come up with agreed upon initiatives and ideas legislatively and otherwise, because more otherwise than legislatively, because that's what Parliament is for, in terms of strategies and mechanisms to lower crime. That is what closed-door crime talks can achieve.
Yeah. And they would both bring ideas to the table. Yeah. And they would both bring ideas to the table that they may not want to articulate in the public.
In Parliament, yeah.
And
thrash them out.
And thrash them out. How can we agree on this? And how can we agree on the legislation? Because a lot of the legislation, when you're restricting people's rights, in whatever format in dealing with crime, is going to require the assistance of the opposition. So they can probably hammer out what they can agree on in those things. Before we go any further, I just wanted to read a little bit of the editorial in the Trinidad and Tobago Express today. And it's headlined Mind-Boggling Incompetence. And it goes back to an incident that was rehashed by the parents of a girl who went missing at the crime talks at La Jolla. At the crime talks hosted by the United National Congress last Monday night, Junior Emmanuel and his wife, Marilyn Emmanuel, told the heartrending of their daughter Shadi, who had been missing for 6 years. Their story also revealed inexcusable police incompetence. On June 27th, 2018, 20-year-old Shadi went to meet her boyfriend in Chagonas. She never returned home. The Emmanuels made a report to the Brasso police station where the officer told them to have Shadi come to the police station when she came back. Although more than 90% of reported missing persons do eventually turn up, it does not seem that the police took any action when Shadi did not. A year later, a burnt body was found in the Santa Flora oilfield area, and Mr. Emmanuel contacted the police as he had seen photographs of the corpse, which had clothing similar to his daughter's. Although the police promised to work on it, it was only when the Emmanuel story was published by the media that the police contacted them. They then took a DNA sample from Mr. Emmanuel to compare with DNA from the burnt corpse, another sign of incompetence, since such samples should be taken from both parents to make identification more likely. Only after the first test was inconclusive did the police take DNA from Miss Emmanuel 6 years later.
Wow.
The Emmanuels are still awaiting for the results. The police also said that they cannot start a murder investigation until the tests are determined. This is unadulterated nonsense. Do all investigations depend on DNA evidence alone? If the burnt corpse is not Sade, are the police trying to find out who it was? From reports of the case, it does not appear that the police even attempted to track Sade's phone or people known to her to see if she may have been with a particular person on the day she vanished. Nor does it seem that they conducted interviews with Sade's friends to identify anyone who might have posed a threat to her. As far as DNA investigations go, police failure remains defined by the 1998 death of 11-year-old Akil Chambers. The autopsy found that the boy had been bugged repeatedly, adding a horrific dimension to an already awful death. Yet the samples taken from Akil's corpse, which could have identified his abuser and possible killer, were destroyed after 2 years. In 2018, the Police Complaints Authority launched an investigation into the conduct of police officers in the case, but 5 years later, the police has yet to hear the outcome. The public, has yet to hear the outcome. So that is most of the thing. It just has about 2 closing paragraphs, but just indicating what citizens sometimes face when they interface with the TTPS.
And that's why in when people ask what value it is, even though there'll be a lot of politicization, people get a chance to hear stories of people's experiences in interfacing with the system. And that is somebody's child. But it's just a case to the police. You understand? But that is somebody's child who they gave birth to, and they raised, and they loved, and they care about. And they are heartbroken and destroyed at the child, but it's just another case. And it's, as I said this morning, it's not what you know, it's how. I was giving us an example this morning, Richard, about me calling the police this morning, the police stations, to confirm because I saw a TikTok video that there was a fire in Port of Spain. I didn't know if it was a new video, an old video. So before putting it into the news, I wanted to confirm, and I called Belmont Police Station first, and the audio officer was extremely cordial and professional. Good morning, Belmont Police Station. How may I help you? I said, good morning, calling from the media, just trying to confirm if there was a fire in Port of Spain. He said, yes, there was a fire on Observatory Street. Could you give me any more information? He said, well, I can't because that's not our jurisdiction. If you would like to call the Bessos Police Station, they would be able to help you more. I said, thank you. That's what you want, right? I called the Bessos Police Station. Good morning, Officer X and Y. Good morning. Calling from the media to find out if there was a fire on Observatory Street. You asking me, what are you telling me? I said, I'm asking you if you can confirm if there was a fire, sir. Yeah, there was a fire. Could you tell me where the fire was? Observatory Street. Were houses destroyed? 3. Was anyone injured? No, we are not. Police still on the scene with fire. Okay, sir, thank you very much. You understand? So, I mean, I didn't seek to probe any further because, I mean, it didn't make sense at that point. You understand?
Yeah.
So, but to be fair, Belmont was extremely cordial and professional. You know, and the person who answered Belmont was also professional at the start when he identified himself and he said, good morning, Bessos Street Police Station. He did do that. You understand? So I guess they had to standardize it. But to your point, when you read the editorial, I think that is the value of those fora, people get a chance to tell their experiences. Because you get one thing from the police service when they go before GSCs and when they come to the media. But these are real living human beings who are interfacing with this system in times of extreme distress. And that is the response you get. And back to that Akil Chambers thing. That DNA wasn't destroyed by guess or by happenstance. I believe
it was intentional.
Destroyed. Okay? It was part of the whole cover-up with the perpetrators of that heinous act on that young boy. All of that was part of it. All of them was part of it. And they basically got away with it, sadly. Because nobody had responsible up to today. What can I name call?
Yeah, nobody was held responsible.
No. Nope. Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
But this is Trinidad and Tobago, so
there's so many, there's so many stories that come to mind, and I mean, so many people would have had tragic stories, and we know of people whose murders, as far as we know, have not been solved. Of course, Raymond Chukong is one, and Gladiator. I don't know whether it's been solved or not because the police has not indicated. They have not indicated whether it has been solved or not because they don't proffer information, especially if it gets a little cold in the public's mind. That's it. You don't hear anything about it. So I don't know. I have not seen anything that indicates that Gladiator's murder was ever resolved.
Yeah,
It reminds me of an incident where one of my friend's phones was stolen around Carnival time, and I tracked the phone personally, and it ended up in somebody's house in Silot. You could see the house, you could do the satellite, it was pretty accurate in terms of tracking that phone. And he went to the police in Besson Street. Besson Street sent him to, was it Besson Street? Besson Street, and then Besson Street sent him to CID, CIC, see why you send him here about a phone and it's in the Besson Street area. Go down to the Besson Street, but it's Silots. When he went there,
when any station should be able to take a report and digitally network it.
And he's telling you, look, this is where we have tracked it, this is where it's at. The Besson Street police officer said, no, we don't go down in the back day.
Could you imagine? Police.
We don't go down in the back day. At that point,
they could do what they want in the back day.
Apparently. So he was just like, okay, at this point he gives up.
Because
he can't go by himself.
No, you can't. If the police can't go with you.
Yeah. And that's an example of people interfacing with the TTPS. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that there are wonderful interactions that work
as I had this morning with the Belmont.
But there's some horror stories. And there's some
lot of horror stories. But there are a lot of good stories also, to be fair, to put balance. There are a lot of great interfaces with the police. And I have seen police doing great work. I have always spoken about this situation of leaving Port of Spain just under the flyover coming into Port of Spain over the market there. And it was on the bus route, and this child, I don't know why this child was alone, looked like about 7 or 8 years old, was trying to cross there, and the police saw this child trying to cross by himself, and the police pulled the car across the road, got out of the police vehicle, and actually held the child's hand and crossed the child straight across to the other side of the road. You understand?
Mm.
And I just stopped and I said, thank you for doing that. So there are great stories of police officers doing a lot of great work too.
But it's and I'm sure there are other stories. I'm sure there are other stories that are going to crop up and
of course
will emerge
as the crime talks move about.
But for building confidence in the TTPS, you can't have these kinds of stories.
And that's what we were raising with Mr. Hines the other morning.
And a lot of it is also a certain level of empathy and understanding that what might not be important to you as a human being is important to somebody else. That's why they're coming to you.
But Richard, even if you don't have empathy as a human being, which you should have, part of doing your job professionally is displaying that empathy. Even if you're faking it.
Yeah, but you experienced that this morning.
Well, I also
you're asking me you're asking me what you're telling me.
But I also experienced a professional officer.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So you have to be
So
fair.
You experience both sides of the coin.
Yeah, I have to be fair. That the first one was extremely professional. He said, and then he ended by saying, "Thank you for calling." You know, which is what you want to encourage public participation. So when we raised it with Minister Hines the other day, he just didn't address it at all. It's like he didn't even hear it. You want people to participate, and yes, you do, but they have to feel confident and trust the police. You know? So, and speaking of crime, and we were talking earlier on before you came on about the AmCham meeting where the president of AmCham, Mr. Stuart Franco, is asking government to go after the big fish, as he put it, the white-collar criminals. I mean, when Faris Arai was Attorney General, we're passing legislation, we will follow the money. And then what? Okay, you put your finger on a couple people, but is it really indicative of the level of white-collar crime going on? That you've investigated and brought to justice? When we see about the customs and them find this AR and that gun and this gun, and they up to now they ain't see who sent the gun or who shipped the gun or who signed for the delivery through the warehouses and through the ports. When last year somebody get hold for them thing? They free the guns and them stop coming in because we're talking about it? When last have you heard they seized illegal weapon and contraband coming into the ports and somebody has been held and charged for it? Waiting, I have some time.
I have no clue. When last I heard that?
You understand? And customs is part of it too. Also, customs is an algorithm in this country for corruption and untouchable, seemingly. Police can't even go in there just so. Police can't go in.
First of all, I do find that, first of all, I don't know how desperate the state is for the 7% and the VAT they charge on packages coming in. Because the vast majority of packages coming in on those courier services, and from the backlog that happened last year, are probably 500 US and less. Let's say 1,000 US and less. A lot of them are scanned before they even enter Trinidad and Tobago. They're scanned in Miami, where most of those couriers would have their bases for transshipment to Trinidad and Tobago. Why don't you free up all of those customs officers to pay more attention in other areas? Because it's unlikely somebody is going to be shipping in that kind of contraband in those courier packages because they're scanned and they're photographed, etc. in the Miami.
I don't know that is true.
Well, it's unlikely.
Why is it unlikely?
Because they are scanned and sometimes opened in Miami and photographed.
The general international best practice for scanning is that less than 10% in any jurisdiction of packages and shipping material is scanned.
Yes, but how does the US do it, Paul? All packages coming into the US of 1,000 US and less are duty free.
But that doesn't mean they're not searched.
But because they're probably just scanning.
And they have more robust systems down the train.
Exactly, and I'm saying, rather than have those customs officers go through every single package to prove that they could get whatever, free them up to do more important work. Because what they're really doing there is state work to get money, basically.
And Richard, in principle, I agree with you. But you can't have the same corrupt customs officers freed up to search packages when they're getting bribe to let them in. Okay? So while what you're saying in principle might make sense, if you put a corrupt officer, free him up from doing the small packages to the big packages, the same thing will happen. Because the corrupt officers are a significant part of the problem, just like the police service. I mean, we've been in the police service, but customs ain't easy, you know. My understanding, there's a 24, and then the hush promote, eh? I'm a hush promote. I'm a hush promote. There are large deposits in financial institutions in these countries with names as customs officers attached. That's all I would say.
So it comes back.
I have been there for years.
It comes back to who's guarding the guards. So obviously, you have to have checks and balances in terms of the areas, in terms of goods coming into this country, where they are likely going to be contraband in terms of arms and ammunition and drugs. Because those are the basic three things that you're looking at that you want to prevent coming into the country. Besides the other things which may be on a different tier.
They want to hold on, Raj, for pleasure toys.
Oh, they're very good at
they want to hold on somebody for vibrators and pleasure toys. You understand? They, oh my God, stop it.
But the system has to be revamped. We can't continue to do the same things the same way all the time and make life more and more inconvenient to the average citizen. So how do you tweak systems and make life easier for your citizens while still trying to catch those that are culpable in terms of criminal activity? And that's the balancing act that you have to do. But a lot of times we accept systems and systems don't change in this country for years and years and years and years, you know. They're not even reviewed. They just stay as is. Whatever it is, that's it. And it continues ad nauseum. Nothing changes. But if nothing changes, then this conversation we have in here, Paul, is the same conversation we're going to have next year. And the same thing
that I have had with Ragoobarsingh for 30 plus years on the radio.
Exactly. So get those checks and balances in place to deal with.
In that time, I have seen, a little older, late Patrick Manning. Robinson.
But Patrick Manning said he knew who Mr. Big was.
Master Pandey, the late, Mrs. Prasad Bissessa, and now Dr. Rowley. All at the helm in this country. Okay, yeah, Patrick Manning did say he knew who Mr. Big is, but sometimes I guess Mr. Big is untouchable.
We did a play on that after he said, you know, Mr. Big is, and he never find Mr. Big, and we did a play called.
They're blowing up trash can in the streets, remember?
Yeah.
Anyway, you have papers. You have papers. You have papers.
Yes, I have papers.
All three?
All three.
Good job, Ragoobarsingh. Good job.
Well done, there, Richie Rich. All right, let's get in the headlines of all three dailies.
Well, I could start with the Daily Express since I started with it this morning in terms of reading the editorial, at least most of the editorial. I didn't read all of it. But anyway, let me start with the Daily Express. And just in case you didn't know, today is Thursday, January 18th, 2024. Morva rocked by triple murder, trouble in paradise. MP, the tragedy has left a lot of people shaken up, extremely traumatized. I was watching that on news last night, and these are young guys, young, and the perpetrators of the murder were dressed in police officers' uniforms. So initially, when they were approaching, they didn't think anything until they started to shoot at them. PM to speak tonight on Kamla's call for a state of emergency. And the main picture is, what is this main picture about? Time to talk, soca artist, a young brother, Center Youth Development Minister Foster Cummings and Port of Spain South MP Keith Scotland reached Sealot's residence yesterday during the launch of Talk of Things, a program geared towards youths speaking about the problems and issues affecting them. Talk the things, talk the things. A program geared towards youths speaking about the problems and issues affecting them. So, Talk the Things is the name of the program geared towards youths speaking about the problems and issues affecting them. They felt the need to use dialect to have impact, obviously. Talk the Things. On the back page of the Trinidad and Tobago Express, dream start. Rookie Joseph revels in taking wicket with first ball in tests, and Grave makes another call for fairer spread of cricket cash. That's the front and the back of the Daily Express today. I'm moving on to the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. On the front page, main headline, AmCham TNT president urges government go after big fish, says crime must be tackled from all fronts. Situation will only get worse if not addressed. 4 more killed in 2 separate gun attacks. TB scare tranquility government secondary. And celebration time, that's the main one, the main pictures. Holy Faith Convent penal students celebrate their victory in Sunday's 2024 National Secondary Schools Panorama Competition. And on the back page of the TNT Guardian today, West Indies batting collapse, but Joseph hits back. And so that's the main story on the back page. So now you know. I'll go straight on to the Newsday for today. The front page of the Newsday. What did the Newsday go with? I'll tell you right now. American Chamber sounds alarm. Criminals taxing businesses. That's the main headline. Masking up. The main picture is that of a pedestrian wearing a face mask along Frederick Street, Port of Spain, Wednesday, after the Ministry of Health said 5 people died from COVID-19 since Christmas. So that's the main picture. Tobago reintroduces COVID measures, and that's it for the front page of the Newsday. On the back page, rookie pacer shines on debut, but Aussies bundle out West Indies for 188 on day 1. Joseph, no better wicket than Smith's, and schools relay festival races off today. That's the front and back page of the Newsday. So now you're informed of what our 3 dailies thought with important stories for the front and back pages this morning.
All right. Thank you so much, Richie Rich. Of course, let me just give you
welcome, Steve.
let me just give you the Australia versus West Indies. It's day 2 yesterday. Of course, West Indies made 188 and Australia made 283. Currently, the West Indies are 73 for 6. Joshua De Silva is on 17. Of course, play will continue today. They're down under. All right. We had 73 for 6 on our second inning. We trail by 22 runs. All right. So there you go. If you didn't know there was cricket going on, there is. Starts in the evening. Just to let you know. All right. Let's get the results of our morning poll quickly. Ask you. Yesterday, do you agree with Gary Griffith that gangs should be treated like terrorists? That was our poll yesterday. Results after this.
The journey begins Saturday, 20th January. Chutney Soca Monarchs semifinals. 30 artists battle for a place of the grand final of CSM. The 2024 Chutney Soca Monarchs semifinals. The Rig, Gulfview, La Romaine. Absolutely free to the public. Message 789-3874 or email southexevents@gmail.com. CSM 2024. Sponsored by National Carnival Commission, B-Mobile, Harrier Suites, Media Partners, Boom Champions, Lit 102.3, Power 102, IETV, Social Media Partners, Masala Entertainment, and West Indian Chutney Music.
All right, our poll yesterday, do you agree with Gary Griffith that gangs should be treated like terrorists? 89% said yes.
Well, this is my suggested question for today.
Wonderful. Let's see what you got there, buddy. Do you support the UNC anti-crime town hall meeting talks? All right, that's our poll. Call us 222-8255 toll free. North Americans, 866-525-1099. So numbers directly into our studio. All right. Do you support the UNC's anti-crime town hall meeting talks? Yes or no? Of course, on WhatsApp at 318-1021, on Facebook, on YouTube as well. Yeah. All right. Got one here. Jaron Joseph. Good morning to you, Jaron. Locked on every morning. Yes to the poll. CJ in a very cold New York says yes. Good morning, Roger T. CPT Singh. Mrs. R. Good morning to you. Kyla Cupid. Faria, good morning. Carol Joseph. Cheryl Seeley. Mogan out in Aruka. Good morning. All right. Let's see. Eve out in Sugarguanas says yes. Thank you, Eve. Julia S. Julia S. Batiste says yes. All right. 222-8255. Toll free North Americans. 866-525-1099. Long Islander via WhatsApp says yes. Slick Money Grip says no. Guy Small, yes. What says you, caller?
Good morning, gentlemen. And Grandy, yes.
All right, Grandy, have a great day. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. This is DJ Ray. Yes.
All right, DJ Ray out in Tampa. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. You all have a blessed day.
All the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Finbar Collins, no.
So a poll this morning, do you support the UNC anti-crime town hall meeting talks? That's our poll, 222-TALK, 222-8255. North Americans toll free at 866-525-1099. People on the web app, wherever you're streaming us, you can send your votes via the comment section on the YouTube stream, LinkedIn, Insta Live, Facebook. And of course, you can also send it via WhatsApp at 868-318-1021. You can see it on the ticker tape below. That's running underneath the question if you're watching us.
You realize that chat is a whole different show, right?
Yes. Yeah. It is, you know. All right. Do you support the UNC anti-crime town hall meeting talks? Yes or no?
That's our poll this morning. I see Brian Marcel says no.
Yeah.
So the UNC is holding anti-crime town hall meetings. Do you support it? They held the first one at La Jolla on, was it Monday night?
Monday night.
Because we are Thursday. Today's Thursday. The weekend begins tonight, people, at the second after midnight. How could I forget?
How could you?
Thursday.
Right. Got a call. Good morning.
Good morning, Steve. My answer is yes. Very useful.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. You support the UNC anti-crime town hall meeting talks? Yes or no?
That's our poll this morning.
Yeah.
CPT Singh says no. 222-TALK.
Yeah. Wayne B says no. Rena Boodoo Jennings says no. G Butcher, morning all. Morning to you, Mr. Butcher. All right. Do you support the UNC anti-crime town hall meeting talks? Yes or no? You support it? Carol Guevara, no. Thank you, Carol, again. Righty-ho, righty-ho.
Check your WhatsApp, Steve.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Yes, 100%. Yes.
All righty.
Mrs. R says yes, they can talk, but not sure where it will go.
Mm-hmm.
She's by her blanket, the same place that Zina is by her blanket. You know.
You need to wash that blanket.
So I wonder Richard has stayed under that blanket so long. Just saying.
Karen Yipnow says
Yeah.
yes. Morning to you, Karen.
Yeah, I took down that already.
Brian Moss.
Right, Steve, there are clips in the news.
Yeah, I have it here already. All right, news in 2 minutes time. Before that, vote on our poll, yes or no. Call us, 222-8255. Those in a very cold North America, toll-free number, 866-525-1099. Very simple. On WhatsApp at 3181021. Of course, on Facebook, YouTube.
I find Fitzgerald Hines should take the bull by the horn, figuratively, and walk into the next UNC town hall meeting and sit down. You find so?
A picture in that right now, eh? The amount of boos and jeers and all kind of thing you're going to get.
I see. Yes, Karen. Street Canal is having their final Juve ban this year. 30 years. I remember the best Juve I ever had was that first one in blue.
Boo.
So 30 years.
I was in that Juve band too. I did Street Canal last year actually, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I never hear anything negative about that band.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I saw so many people from abroad, you know, who have migrated, who I haven't seen in years and years. So it's
I
nice
love
to see
Juve. I absolutely love Juve, but I stopped playing Juve in 1 year. So the same Street Canal band, and walked down to Cipriani Boulevard, and this guy and a woman walked past me right in front of Mario's holding hands, and then when I turned back around and walked back down, they were running with a cloth on the side of the man's face, and somebody just passed and sliced his face, and that was the last Juve for me.
Holy cow.
Not 30 seconds after. How could it be this? Could you imagine?
Yeah. Yeah, I just played Juve one. I did not enjoy it.
Remember, Steve, you had to take off your shirt, so.
Oh, behave, Paul. Good Lord.
Carnival time, you could wear anything.
That is true.
Anything.
You could have a ball.
I will, yeah. I really wanted to play Juve.
It's the best part of Carnival. It's the most organic and spoiled part of Carnival.
I just did.
Uncommercialized, I should say. Anyway, news is next.
Yeah, let's see. Let's get into it right now. All right, of course. It'll be read by Dr. Paul Richards.
This is your news bulletin from Power 102 Digital.
It is Thursday, 18th January 2024. This is major news to 7 a.m. on News Power Digital. First, the headlines. A police constable attached to the Traffic and Highway Patrol branch is shot and killed. An early morning fire in Observatory Street in Port-of-Spain destroyed 3 houses and forced the evacuation of families. The business community urges the government to go after white-collar criminals. And United Nations agencies reports soaring cholera cases globally. We have details coming up next. It's 7 o'clock in Trinidad and Tobago. This is major news to 7 right here on News Power Digital. Our newscast is compiled by Avril St. Hilbab. Good morning. In our top story this morning, a police constable attached to the Traffic and Highway Patrol branch was shot and killed just before 10 p.m. at Bassey Street, Spring Village in Valsine. The dead officer has been ID'd as PC Harnarine. Harnarine was seated in his red Subaru automobile with a female companion when 2 attackers approached and began shooting. The woman got out of the car and fled and got into another car, according to reports. In CCTV footage, a woman can be seen exiting the scene immediately after gunfire starts. In the video, the police officer can be seen stepping out of the vehicle and shooting at his assailants, who shot back. After the officer was killed by the men's retaliatory shot, they took his gun and fled. His killing has pushed the murder toll in the country to 30. An early morning fire on Observatory Street in Port of Spain destroyed 3 houses and forced the evacuation of several families just after midnight on Wednesday. No one was reportedly hurt. Police and fire officers are on the scene trying to determine the cause of the blaze. This confirmed by the Bessemer Street Police Station. We'll have more as information comes to hand. The business community is urging the government to go after white-collar criminals in Trinidad and Tobago, as white-collar crime and corruption are insidious. The message from AmCham's TNT's President Stuart Franco as he delivered remarks at the organization's Economic Outlook Forum 2024 at the Hat Regency in Port of Spain yesterday. The event was themed Adaptation and Resilience. Franco told the government to go after the big fish as it seeks to grapple with rising crime woes in the country. He warned if no dent is made in arresting crime, the country and its institutions will worsen. He also added, crime is costing business owners significant amounts of money, with 18% reporting they've been asked to pay bribes and 57% saying they're spending more on security and insurance because of crime. According to a survey among the business community conducted by AmCham and Ernst & Young, 9% of the respondents said either their company has been threatened or coerced to pay protection money to avoid harm or damage to their business through criminal activities in the past year. Survey respondents included business head units and directors from businesses across 11 industries. We'll have Stuart Franco on at 7:30 right here on the Power Breakfast Show. Additionally, the business community is chastising both the government and opposition for not holding crime talks after months of talks about these proposed crime talks. Guardian Holding Limited CEO Ian Chinapoo said politicians are taking a beating from business groups because they are frustrated over their failure to collaborate or hold discussions that can ultimately help curb the country's rising crime wave. Chinapoo was responding to a question about the failure of government and the UNC to meet for anti-crime talks at the Chambers of Industry and Commerce's Economic Outlook Forum yesterday at the Hyatt Regency. He said politicians across the divide should put country first and focus less on holding office. The National Insurance Board said at this time there's no evidence of data exfiltration and no expected risk to confidential and or personal information held by NIBTT following the December 26, 2023 attack on its IT environment. It said this position was indicated after forensic analysis by cybersecurity specialists. NIB said it will continue to work with cybersecurity partners to improve the security and resilience systems to strengthen against future potential incidents. Trust and teamwork have been cited by a range of BP renegades Duvon Stewart as some of the factors which have contributed to the success of the Steel Pan Orchestra, which has several national titles under its belt. Stewart said people in various key positions are able to carry out their work and functions in a focused way free of interference. He said there's also a level of freeness involved for ideas to be developed and executed for the betterment of the orchestra. From 2012 to now, Stewart said he was able to work without pressure from inside or outside influence.
There's no micromanaging of no individual portfolios that represents the band going forward. The president do what he has to do. The captain do what she has to do. The treasurer does what she has to do. The arranger do what he has to do, because it comes down to trust. It comes down to trust.
Right. President of the band
hire an arranger.
Meanwhile, President of the band, Colin Graves, spoke about the role of the sponsors in the process and the relationship between players and the arranger, and both sides are comfortable in exchanging their points of view.
There's no micromanaging of no.
With our sponsors, they are very supportive of everything, because they also trust that we have a well-oiled machine, and that we make these conversations and we have consultations, and that there's no level of arrogance on any one person's part, and that's where the teamwork comes in. Someone would easily always say, how you feel about this? And it doesn't have to be in a big announced or pronounced way. It's not a dissertation, it's not anything like that. Sometimes it's just a simple conversation like this. If you're not part, you find it too long, what do you think?
Both were guest speaking during Power 102 Digital's Hard Talk program from 4 to 6 weekdays right here in Power 102 Digital. The Ministry of Health advises there has been a revised voluntary recall notice for Quaker Oats granola bars as of January 11th, 2024. According to Quaker Oats, the company has expanded its list of recalled products to include additional cereals, bars, and snacks. On December 15th, 2023, The company issued a recall notice for more than a dozen products due to salmonella contamination. International news now. United Nations agencies are reporting soaring cases of cholera globally, with over 667,000 cases and more than 4,000 deaths in 2023 alone. The UN Children's Fund said Eastern and Southern African nations are among the worst affected. They say it accounts for about 75% of fatalities and 1/3 of cases as of January 15th, 2024. 7 a.m. major news. Here are the headlines once again. A police constable attached to Traffic and Highway Patrol Branch is shot and killed. An early morning fire on Observatory Street in Port of Spain destroys 3 dwelling houses and forces the evacuation of families. The business community urges government to go after white-collar criminals. And the United Nations agencies report soaring cases of cholera globally. That is major news to 7 a.m. right here on News Power Digital. We'll have major news again coming up at 12 noon with headlines at 8 a.m.
Up to date and credible. Power 102 Digital.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Paul Richards, for our major news. Of course, you can join him again. Come at 8 o'clock for our news brief. Quickly take a look at our weather forecast for today. 23 at Piarco, 26 at Crown Point. The Met Office, it's partly cloudy and breezy with a few showers accompanied by gusty winds favoring Tobago, Beefy Smith, and Northern Ireland, Northern Trinidad. This afternoon and this evening will be settled despite the odd shower. So there you go. All right. Quickly take a look what's happening on the highways and on the byways at this time. Let's see. Yeah, where you think you're going to get traffic, you will get traffic. San Fernando, you're not too bad. Gala Corner Connector Road is a heavy spot this morning. Exiting the Solo onto Napri Mumiara Road. That's a bit heavy. Harmony Hall. Solo heading north up. Couva to Sugargorners. Riverland Road is heavy. And then after Sugargorners, Charlieville towards Interchange in the Port of Spain. Piarco straight in the Port of Spain. Eastern Main Road, Takari goes straight up to Mova. All right. Maraval heavy, Dago heavy. Lower Santa Cruz coming on to San Juan. You got some traffic there as well. All right. That's a quick traffic update for you. Let's see. We have any more votes. Let me just check it here. I got Val saying no. Did I miss some? Natasha saying yes. Good morning, Natasha. Josie Richardson says yes. Right, so there you go. Yep.
So our poll this morning was, do you support the UNC anti-crime town hall meeting talks? We had 21 people voting on the poll this morning. And of the 21 people, 15 of you said yes, you do support it. And 7 of you said no.
Yeah. Captain Ron just said yes. Nice pick, Captain Ron.
So 16 of you said yes, and 7 of you said no, taking it to a total of 23 people voting in the allotted time. Of course, you can continue to vote on this poll throughout the day, through our programming, and we'll give you the final results tomorrow morning, which will be Friday.
All right. Thank you so much, Richie Rich. Of course, as Paul said in our newscast this morning, we are going to have the president of AmCham, Mr. Stuart Franco, on at 7:30. He was speaking at the Economic Outlook Forum 2024, which was held yesterday at the Hyatt Hotel, Regency Hotel.
I see Israel Khan. I assume it's Israel Khan, is it?
Sorry?
Let me make sure.
He's saying something about Israel Khan.
The Prime Minister.
Israel Khan is agreeing that they should amend the law to deal with gangsters as terrorists. So he's saying that the Anti-Terrorism Act should be amended to define gangsters as terrorists and prosecute them with a sunset clause in place to test its success, says senior counsel Israel Khan. Now you know.
Prime Minister will comment on the call by Mrs. Pasabi Sessa for an SOE. This evening, I think the PNM has a meeting in San Juan.
Quasi.
I believe
so.
You'll also comment on the UNC's anti-crime talks. So we'll get a lot of news out of that tomorrow.
Definitely. All right. 13 after 7. Let's open up our lines before our guest comes in. 222-8255, toll-free North Americans. 866-525-1099. All right. While the call stream through, I'll let you know that it's the biggest and best. South X Promotions presents the Chutney Soca Monarch semifinals. It's happening this Saturday, 20th day of January, at the Rig Restaurant and Bar. The energy starts at 8 p.m. 32 artists and guest performances by RG The Band. We bring back the vibes, the energy, the experience. Vie for your favorite artist. For further information, you can call the Chutney Soca Monarch hotline at 789-3874. That's 789-3874. The Chutney Soca Monarch semifinals at the Rig Restaurant and Bar. It's absolutely free to the public. All right. So we have some calls streaming in. So let's get to it. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Sleepyhead. Morning, Mrs. Richards.
Add no to that list for me. I don't want more no.
No, that's so surprising. I never expected that from you.
Well, sometimes you need to be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I didn't hear you, but I was between sleep and wake. I then put on Alexa this morning early, so I put on the YouTube and the phone, and I had it right here by my head. And I hear something about the blanket. One day, something, but after that...
I said Mrs. R, and you shop for blankets the same place. At Belazia House.
No.
At Belazia House.
Something else to say
You'll
about
have your blankets delivered directly from Belazia House.
Belazia, you said?
Belazia House. It's from Belazia House.
Yes. Like how you call it. All right.
Isn't that correct, though?
Tonight, our Prime Minister will answer to that crime, too. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait. It will be very interesting.
Get your buff-proof vests ready.
So, gentlemen, all right, when the talks light up, if you taking calls, I'll call back.
All right.
What do you want to call back for? That you can't say now.
What?
What are you going to call back for that you can't say now?
Oh, what you want me to say? What I have to say? Well, yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, you all expected anything different from what you all knew before, from all the hosts, all the guests?
No.
Everything is about me, and I, and all I'm hearing is that the crime rate went down, and about and comparing and contrasting. But I guess these people fail to realize that the crime rate went down because they jump and put a state of emergency and lock up so many black men and without any charges, and then right now it costing the state millions of dollars paying men with the trumped up charges what they came up with, and for locking them up for no reason at all. So what's she calling for state of emergency? People just go for state of emergency unless something real drastic happening over this carnival period. This is carnival. Feds now start, tents now opening, and you calling for a state of emergency. Where and when? To do what? To lock up young men again, just out of the blue, so? That is their crime plan. And I'm hearing things about the crime. I listened to the opposition leader. Yes, the crime, we have to protect our borders. I thought she said the crime was not the sea, it was on the land. And they let the vessels be sold off to another country. You always sell out away the blame from the sky. Yeah, always mash up the special forces that they had going on and then put Rishmi. What all they want, what they wanted, what they expected. All of a sudden now you want the borders protected. You know that the borders must be protected. These people, listen.
Right.
They think that yes, others sleep late sometimes, but don't think that we're not awake to know what is really taking place in this country. You know, when you sit down and list out kind of crime that went on under the UNC, and how many of them involved in it, and who still before the
You
court.
went in that bed, set you and pull out a booklet, girl.
Who went before the courts, who's still on bail and coming to tell me about crime? It still have questions being asked out there and unanswered about trafficking, human trafficking and all that. Man, look, when they can answer to the country on a lot of things, then we will really take them serious. They went out there to campaign, and are foolish people in clapping and enjoying them.
I forgot to tell you yesterday, you need to cut that right big toenail there, scratching there.
Right scratcher, that's fun for me.
Very scratchy, it's dangerous.
All right. Thanks, Zena.
Oh, go on. All right. Steve got it one time. Oh, go on.
Yeah.
Cut that claw you have there.
All right. You can call folks. All my lines were lit up a while ago. So you can call 222-8255. North Americans, 866-525-1099. Let's say to Captain Ron. He's out in Ethiopia and Addis Ababa, I think. He says that they listen to you guys here. It's now 2:13 in the afternoon. All right. Thank you so much, Captain Ron. Good morning.
Morning. Steve Franco, Richard.
Mr. Patrick, good morning.
Wendell, morning.
Mr. Patrick.
Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
This crime talk, what it seems to be having under the UNC leadership. Last night I was in a little settings with Lyman and thing, and a guy came in and apparently he started to have a talk. A police officer, an Indian police officer, come and he started to have a conversation. And he started to talk, Keith Rowley was creating crime. And if UNC was in power, they'd get 14%. They get 4% and nobody in the country is saying nothing. And if UNC come in power, you got no crime in Trinidad and Tobago. I said, Mr. Here we going on, leave me alone, boy. Just leave me alone. Because all they want to politicize crime and make crime look like it's a racial thing. And I don't want none of that, brother. Crime has no color, he has no face, he has no Indian, African, Chinese, UNC no PNM. Crime is a response to the greed and the wickedness of people. Yes? So a lot of people using this crime talk for political gain, boy. And not dealing with the issue. Right? Because he jumped, they get 4%, and Kamala get them 14%, and in 6 months' time, they all of them get back pay. I said, so what have to do with crime, Bob? So you see where this thing going? But what I really call to talk about COVID, boys. I hear like to have COVID on the rise, and Tobago institute the security measures for COVID. Face mask and washing hands and all kind of things. So asking people, I have a friend recently, she had a bad cold. And for what she telling me she had COVID. So we in the carnival season, a lot of foreigners coming in. Take precaution.
All right.
Thank you. I'm glad Mr. Patrick brought it. Tobago need to figure out if they want to have carnival in October or February or when we're having it in Trinidad. Trying to market 2 carnivals a year don't make no sense. Okay, Tobago? Make up your mind on which one you want to do.
Good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
Morning, Dr. Paul.
Good morning, my dear.
And Wendell, if you are listening.
I'm sure he is.
I'm sure he is. Yeah.
With the morning poll, I don't support it because it's another talk shop. It's just like when we call in and when you all are talking on the radio. It ain't gonna get no solutions and nothing.
You hurt my heart, there, Gail. We are just a talk shop.
I say when we call as a talk shop, we call in and you all are talking on the radio. So it's not like a talk shop, it's nothing. You all talk good then. But like solutions to these talk, anti-talk, because first of all, some of the people who are involved in the talk shop, to me, I don't like to listen to things when these people are politically aligned. From the time politically aligned, because I want an objective person to speak, nothing but a political party, because they don't take a side already as far as I'm concerned. So I don't listen to those things once you're talking them thing with a political party. Come and talk about it normally and don't talk politics. And that for me, that's being objective. So,
well, it's a political party holding it, so there is going to be some level of politicization, well, significant levels of politicization. But I think hearing about Richard quoted a story from the Trinidad Express editorial this morning, which spoke to a couple who told their story, and how was that political? That's an experience.
No, I read it yesterday. Yes, it's an experience, but something about that story too. It does kind of bring back up memories of the parents having to relive those things and talk it out. After 6 years, they come back to talk it, which is heartrending. So, is that going to solve the problem? Because the people who need to get together to talk are the two major parties, because they are politicians and they have to make the rules and so on. You all get together and do the same thing what you're doing normally, and maybe tonight, I don't know, what are we going to talk? Why can't you all get together? There's somebody who has said this morning, wrote about somebody called Terrence Brown, I think he'll say Paul, who wrote an article. That is exactly what I'm going to say too. That let them come together behind closed doors with no media and all the trash of everything.
And you're right. Let me tell you something. In GSCs, when we have closed sessions, it is so productive and congenial. And as the camera go on, the theatrics start.
It's such no nonsense. Yeah. Always looking for pictures. This is so threatening for me. So the point is, these time talks that we are going to started, not going to be profitable to nobody. It is just another political meeting, just like what's going on Hamilton tonight, and whenever again they are happening. Get real discussions, real thing that something tangible has to come out of it. And they can make a decision on certain things to get this crime down to at least minimum. But again, politics is like embedded in everybody being. It doesn't make sense to me. And one other thing, I heard John Abraham, remember the day when you all were playing the state of John Abraham, and he criticized the Commissioner of Police for studying why he was fighting on the ground. To me, he meant that how she could be commissioner? I on the ground, as a police officer, but you only study to get whatever qualification so you can reach to where you are. But nobody's stopping none of the police officers from qualifying for anything they want to qualify for. But then he walked back on that, He walked back on that. He decided he didn't criticize Commissioner Executive, but he put her name first. He didn't say her name anyway. He said why she was studying.
All right. Yeah.
So you all have a good day.
All right. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Happy New Year to you guys.
Good morning. Same to you.
Just an observation. I had good reasons yesterday to shut off, the station when Gary Gibbs came up, because I personally feel that, I'm subject of national interest, on matters of national interest, national security and finance. I am not sure whether you guys can, get some fresh ideas, some people coming in with fresh ideas to talk to us. There's nothing that this guy, offers to anybody when he comes on radio. I listen to him on Synergy, it's the same thing. He comes on, it's the same thing. I personally feel you need to have some fresh ideas. We need fresh people, fresh blood to come to tell us fresh things that can possibly work. I mean, it's really, really time. I mean, I'm fed up with this man, and I'm sorry that I had to switch off on you guys yesterday because I could not really keep at it. I really could not stomach it. Have a great day, gentlemen. I'm listening.
All right. All the best, dear. Good morning.
I want to tell that gentleman, hallelujah, amen. Because, and Ms. Aruka said, yes, it's political meetings, but I'm glad that Dr. Rowley is going to come and answer them tonight because he's going to remind them, I'm sure, the amount of crime and all the different crime that happen under them. So they're not going to bring any different ideas to the table. It's just as you, Ms. Aruka, said, it's a talk shop. And as she referred to John Abraham, people like them, the retired men, before they try to get together and see if they could still offer some suggestions to the new commissioner of police now, or they're trying to bring down the lady and talk about it. I mean, what he said there, yes, we know that he tried with Shogunas, but you don't have to come and behave like that and cry down Mrs. Christopher like that. You understand? Or you're supposed to be quietly giving the lady some ideas before they feel, well, better can be done. But no, they want to come in public to talk who was working when people were studying. Prevent all them from still going and study. If that is the goal, you know that's the criteria. You understand? So, and let me talk as Mr. Trinity Gold. And what he said, I want to tell Mr. Trinity yes, and Race had to commentate. Because when Mr. Daisley, Dr. Daisley spoke, and he talked about, from since Boise Singh and Boland, and he come right up. He talk about the killing of Thelma Haynes, and he come right up the road to the Pulul brothers. Lo and behold, the opposition leader with her remarks. And what did you all ever heard about a man called Manu Benjamin? No, you want to find that he is somebody of African descent to come in there. Manu Benjamin never killed nobody. Manu Benjamin was a beast in human form. He tortured young girls, line up the eye and do all kind of things. So don't come to talk about Manu Benjamin. Manu Benjamin was no murderer. We talk about murderers. People killing one another. So don't chuck in that in there and feel that you're getting some, that will appease anybody. You understand? Just some
right.
nonsense. Thanks.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
Two of the editorials this morning are dealing with the issue of crime. I know the Guardian and the Express, and the problem of crime and the incompetence in dealing with the situation. There is no other major issue for Trinidadians and Tobagonians than the issue of crime. Because the issue of crime affects economics, it affects your ability to get money to do your job, whatever it is. And ultimately, the responsibility for dealing with this problem, even though it may lie with all of us in some sort of holistic form, ultimately it lies with the current administration because you were elected to deal with national safety. So they have to also get a handle of it and be more innovative in terms of whatever the solutions are in dealing with this issue. The simple issue of air surveillance and air support that Fitzgerald Hines talked about with the drone.
And their response, Richard, has been and will continue to be, we need legislative support in the parliament. That has been the response all the time, because there's particular bits of legislation they feel can aid in the fight against crime. And if they don't get the support from the UNC, that is hamstringing. There's a big hamstring for a big challenge for being more effective in fighting crime. That is the response that has been proffered over and over.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, I do have on the line the president of AmCham TNT, Mr. Stuart Franco. Welcome to the Paul Breakfast Show on Paul 102 Digital, of course, with Dr. Paul Richards and Richard Ragoobarsingh.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Franco.
Morning.
Thank you for being with us this morning.
Yeah, man. My pleasure. My pleasure.
You're making a lot of news this morning because you have echoed the sentiments that many people have been echoing for many years. Let's start with the issue of white-collar crime and your call for the government to be more assertive, and I'm paraphrasing here, in identifying and prosecuting white-collar crime and criminals in Trinidad and Tobago. Expand on that a bit first, please.
So I think our message and what we're trying to get over is the crime situation is way more than one-dimensional. There are many dimensions to it. There are many different aspects to it. And going after one is not going to solve the problem, right? A concerted effort has to be made to go after all the different areas, right? So a lot of focus tends to be on one space only. We want to bring to light all of the others. And that is, yes, it's not only about, as they would push in the media, gangs. It's also about white-collar crime. And it's also about the lack of technology and availability of tech for the sector to perform better at their jobs.
You know, when people say the lack of technology, it befuddles me, Mr. Franco, because the amount of money we devote in terms of the national budget to the national security infrastructure and the Ministry of National Security, which is supposed to deal with those issues, should have the funding to fuel whatever technological capabilities we need. So is it an issue of political will? Is it an issue? What is the issue?
So if I was able to answer that question, I certainly would have made a concerted effort towards change, right? Unfortunately, I am not in a position to answer that question. What I can tell you is that there is a lack of tech. We are still using older technology that is not as efficient or effective as the newer tech. And yes, from database management, record management, there's so many different elements that can make up a much stronger position, right? And I think another piece that we touched on, we didn't speak a lot to it, but we touched on, is the judicial system as well. I know there's a lot of work being done in that space to improve it. A lot of steps are being taken, which is fantastic, but we're still in a position where the time from arrest to sentencing, it's really long. It's really long, and these are all things that have an impact.
How would you respond to those who suggest that while your call for a greater focus and efficiency in dealing with white-collar crime is important and critical, that the business community themselves need to take a stronger role in it? And I'm using the example of, for instance, any legitimate business or illegitimate business, quite frankly, must go through a very robust banking system, must also interface with other businesses that are legitimate. And so there are opportunities that are not being maximized in identifying fraudulent activities and helping the state in the fight against white-collar crime.
I hear you with that, and I'm going to say that's a very difficult one to answer as well, because I would say a lot of the times it's not strictly criminal activity. It's blended or mixed with legitimate activity as well, making it more difficult to detect. If the legitimate activity is what's being shown and presented and documented and gone through with the institutions that are doing the checks and balances, then how do they pick it up? You know, it's not as simple as saying we have systems in place or institutions that are supposed to be doing checks to pick these things up.
But the business sector themselves, and as you said, technology, part of technology is the digital landscape and doing business digitally and keeping records. And many businesses that are legitimate accept cash transactions, which are one of the easiest ways to funnel illegitimate money through the so-called legitimate system. And that's still quite pervasive in the business sector. And that's why I asked the question about what the role of the business sector should be in moving this paradigm forward.
Right. So that piece we get into now, which is that move towards, for the lack of, or using the cliche, cashless society, right? I don't think we'll ever end up with a cashless society. But the reality is moving towards a digital economy and moving towards a space where we have a lot more digital transactions rather than cash transactions. I think today in Trinidad, we still have about 80% of our transactions are cash oriented. So it's a massive move. For that move to happen, it's not only one space, it's a bunch of spaces. We have to get government approval. There's legislation that has to be passed and put in place. Some of it already has, some of it is still a work in progress. And then we have the central bank as a player to get involved in going through the different parties to make sure, as you said, that they're legitimate businesses doing legitimate things, that sets limits and borders and boundaries. And I think we only have 3 entities that are currently with license from central bank to be in the space. And then we have the financial institutions that are also doing it on their own. So a lot of them have launched their own wallets or their own digital campaigns. And your direct question on the business community, 100%. I think the business community has to support and get behind and step up and assist where possible, which is why we are saying it takes all of society. It doesn't take any one element. And as the business community, we have to step up and support the government, be there for the government, and work and collaborate with the government towards change. If not, it's very difficult.
When you identified that 18% of businesses surveyed across 11 sectors or industries reported that they've been asked to pay bribes, did the survey also inquire whether or not they reported being asked to pay bribes, or whether they did comply to get the business transaction through?
So no, the survey did not go on to ask those questions. The survey was conducted by EY together with AmCham towards AmCham's membership. And the responses are what you saw, right? So the stats that you saw. So yes, 18% of the people that responded to the survey said that within 2023, they were asked to pay a bribe. No, it did not.
That's interesting because to me, if 1/5 relative basically of businesses reported, and to me, there are thousands of businesses in Trinidad and Tobago. Not all would have been participating in the survey, but 1/5 of businesses sampled said they had been asked to pay bribe. If those businesses reported being asked to pay bribes and brought the authorities on board, what do you think the results would be?
To be honest, that's also a very good question. I'm not sure. I do know that we are willing to push that narrative, and we're willing to suggest to them all that they ought to step up and they ought to share and they ought to put out that information and make sure that the relative parties are aware, because you can't fix what you don't know. So if they're not aware that it's happening, there's nothing they can do about it. That conversation is going to be a very difficult one to have with members. First of all, the survey is anonymous, so we will not know who said that. But more importantly, even if we pulled it out as a general message to all saying, hey, look, we did a survey, this came out, we're suggesting you report it. There's always the concern of, if you report it, what next? Where does it go? Does it get lost in the system? Does it get traction? What traction does it get? Who finds out? Is there repercussions you're going to face after for stepping up? All of this is things that needs to be addressed.
But the other side of it is not reporting it, and in some cases being complicit is also why the problem is so pervasive.
One might go on to say you're part of the problem, right? So, silence is compliance to a certain extent, So, yeah, there are many sides. There are many sides to it, as I said earlier, and it depends on how you approach and what you do. But our stance and what we're pushing is exactly what you're saying now. We all need to come together. We all need to step up. All the chambers, all the business communities, the government, the opposition, everybody needs to come together. We need to put country first, and we need to start working closely together and collaboratively to make a change.
But I suppose the more digitized we become, the less likelihood it's for issues like that, because digitization creates a certain amount of transparency in terms of transactions and how you interface with agencies and where you are in the queue and how quickly you get response and how efficient government services or other services that intersect with the business community responds. And I know you a few minutes ago you talked about technology and we're not using the latest technology. I'm wondering whether AmCham has made suggestions or recommendations to the government about this is the kind of technology that we need, and whether some of the businesses, the more prosperous businesses in the AmCham community, might be willing to sponsor one or two aspects of that technology to the state.
You're making me smile too. Yes, you're spot on. We have shared on multiple occasions. We have not only shared alone as AmCham, we shared together as joint chambers. So we have come together and we have had meetings with the minister. We have shared some thoughts. We have spoken to things like soft training, training towards just temperament, how you approach the job, how you approach your customers, training from a growth perspective within the organization. Yes, we think digitization is huge, and digitalization. AmCham has been pushing that for a long time, and we also believe that there's going to be a significant skills gap, and therefore education is also very important, right? So one of the things we're pushing very hard as well is for primary schools, secondary schools, tertiary, and other institutions to start training and helping bridge the digital gap that's going to be created. Because as we go more and more into digitalization and more organizations and more things come on stream, there's going to be this lack of ability or capability. And we need to put things in place to ensure we are ready and prepared for when we get to that point, that the team members that we all have and as a society, we're ready. Right?
Mr.
So, yes,
Mr.
we are skills training. Yes, sir?
Mr. Franco, how do you feel, if at all, or how much do you feel the inadequacies and the issues of customs and excise and the borders are contributing to this white-collar criminal situation in the country?
Well, boy, you're asking me real tough ones today, boy. Okay, so here's what I would say. Three main things, right? So customs is supposed to provide border protection. They're supposed to facilitate trade. And I'm having a senior moment and not remembering the third at the moment, right? But there are three major things they're supposed to do. And what's really difficult is if you go too aggressively after one, you start having a negative impact on the other, right? So, for example, if we go after border protection and we start doing, let's say, 100% inspection, every single package that comes in has to be inspected. Well, that's obviously going to take a lot longer than if you check certain packages or certain individuals' packages or whatever it may be, whatever metric they use to determine what to check. But my point is that then has a negative impact on facilitation of trade, right? So trying to find this balance of doing everything you're supposed to do and doing it well while remaining efficient is not an easy task. And again, in this area, what we are calling on is technology. Do I think it has an impact on crime? Well, if the items that are being used to conduct crime are passing through the border, then yes, it does have an impact. However, it's not only about customs. Again, I'm gonna say it's about the broader community, right? It's about the sheds, it's about the ports, it's about the business community, it's about the TTP, it's about all the different elements that have to come together and work together and collaborate to bring change. Change is not going to happen if only one party wants to make change.
You know, we have these conversations on crime all the time.
Sorry, by party, I don't mean political party. I mean party as in whether it be the TTPS, whether it be customs, whether it be private sector, whether it be sheds, whether it be, you know what I mean? There's so many different players involved in the process that all need to be willing and all need to collaborate for the change to be effective.
You know, we have these conversations on crime all the time, Mr. Franco, on the Power Breakfast Show. And of course, we speak to all of the various personalities, from the Minister of National Security, even the Prime Minister at points. And there's a lot of talk, and we know we're having a conversation with you this morning. And all of these are really good suggestions, I'm saying, you know, in having that kind of synergy between various arms. But Trinidad is really, really very good at talk, but very low on action and change. And I don't know if you see that as a problem, and I don't know if you have a solution about or a recommendation about how we manage that gap or cross that bridge from talk to action and change.
I'm going to say to you, I echo your sentiment too. I do believe that as time has gone by and as the situation has progressed, I think the desire for change is growing. And I think once we get to that point where enough people share the sentiment and enough people have that desire, that's when it will click. That's when the talk will change from talk to action. And again, that's one of the things we're calling for, right? We're calling for action. We're calling for metrics. We're calling for private, public coming together and working together on these things. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to repeat, it's going to be very difficult and it will remain talk.
Another frightening data point you shared at the forum yesterday was that 9% of businesses reported being threatened or cursed to pay what is described as protection money. That's just under 1 in 10. That's just under 10 in 100 businesses. That is a frightening development. How is the business community and how are the authorities dealing with that?
Again, it goes back to what you said at the start, right? You could only fix what you know. Do they know? Are they aware? Is it being reported? How is it being reported? So again, it goes back to the same point you made earlier, sir. And that is, we all need to come together. We all need to start sharing. We all need to start working together to make it happen. How easy a change is it going to be? How easy is it going to be to fix? I can't answer that question at this point in time. But what I can tell you is, once again, I'm saying it again, once the desire is there and we all get to the point where we have the desire, which I believe we're getting closer and closer to, we will start to see change. We will start coming together and we will start working more closely together and we will facilitate the change that's needed.
What do you think about the UNC anti-crime talks as the business community?
The reality is, I think everybody's feeling it, right? So it's a hot talking point. It's expected. I think they are going to talk. And I believe, like you were saying, talk is one thing, action is another, right? So if we're going to talk, why not get together? Why not collaborate? Why not work together, right? If it means that much to us all, should we not be doing that? Should we not be putting down the words and start the action? And that's my only comeback to it, you know. You can say it, but let's start acting on it. Let's start getting together. Let's start working together, and let's start, planning it out and coming up with a constructive approach together. That's how I feel about it.
All right. We want to thank you for being with us this morning and being so candid. We appreciate your time and your contribution.
My pleasure, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Franco. All the best.
Take care.
All right. All right. Of course, that was Mr. Stuart Franco, the president of AmCham. Yeah.
My concern always, and I applaud them for having the forum and applaud them for telling the government go after the white-collar criminals, but very often the white-collar criminals are part of these very same organizations, and if you are complicit and doing business with them just to get the business unknowingly, you're complicit. Which is one thing to tell the government, the state, go after them. It's another thing to actively participate in reporting people who you believe and who you have evidence of funneling money through other businesses, because businesses have to work with businesses and businesses have to work with the state and businesses have to work with banks. So I don't know how, but if 80% of transactions are still cash driven in Trinidad and Tobago, you understand why you have an issue.
Yep. And that's why I think we have to drive to being as cashless as possible, because that tracks stuff.
I'm going to say in your lifetime, but then you're not from here, so you might see it. Huh. We humans won't.
I certainly will.
To talk.
No, but the Prime Minister has already articulated that he wants Trinidad and Tobago to become a cashless society. So there is some political will behind that that narrative, because he's adamant that that's what we should do. And I saw an ad today, actually, and if I may read a little bit of that ad, actually I sent it to somebody, and it's about the TTIFC, that is that the Trinidad and Tobago International Financial Center launches TNT's first digital payment a revenue collection solution for government. And well, I suppose it's less of an ad and more of a, what would they call that, a promo ad or informational ad?
Announcement.
Yeah. The Trinidad and Tobago International Financial Center has revolutionized the way you pay for government services with the e-Cashbook Suite, the first digital payment revenue collection solution for the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Developed in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance's Treasury Division, the TTC approved e-Cashbook Suite is secure and fully compliant with the government's accounting framework, giving you confidence in the integrity and accuracy of your payments. The eCashbook Suite is compatible with all digital payment methods offered across Trinidad and Tobago and offers leading connectivity via robust API integration framework. Not only is the eCashbook Suite convenient for you, but it's also a game changer for the public sector. It will be used for all subsequent government implementations moving forward, including the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, the Environmental Management Agency, the National Entrepreneurial Development Company, and the Immigration Division of the Ministry of National Security for renewals of e-visas, passports, and more. This cashless logo represents the Ministry of Finance and Treasury Division's endorsement, making the eCashbook Suite the client's choice for a cashless revolution. Say goodbye to long queues and to the convenience with the eCashbook Suite. So it's obviously an indication that the government is moving forward to have cashless transactions at government divisions and moving forward to those kinds of e-payment solutions on websites, which I think is in furtherance of, let's say, for example, renewing your passport online, or this is my interpretation. People don't say that's what it said. It didn't say that. I'm just speculating that I think it's towards the drive that you should be able to renew your driver's permit online, renew your passport online, and that you can pay for the transaction via the platform, etc., etc.
One step closer.
Yeah, which includes also the issue of customs payments and stuff like that. Because customs payments a lot of times used to be cash. I don't know if they've changed that, but a lot of it.
Some still cash.
Yeah. So I think it will be all of that.
The off-book ones are cash.
I remember when I had brought in some stuff, not via like the courier system, but via shipping. You could go and clear it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I could have almost become a broker because I learned the system. After doing it a couple of times, I realized this is because it has its own. It's like its own life form,
ecosystem,
and how you navigate.
And it has system A and system B under the counter.
And which way you go to? Well, I had never had any system B. I was only in system A, sir. But the issue that always the issue that always bothered me when I did it was that you had to pay cash, and you never knew how much the total charge would be from customs and clearing you. Remember, it's an unknown. You're not so sure how much you're going to charge you. So
they can make it up as they go along.
So by the time you reach out and say, well, this is your charge, sometimes you were short. And then where this was a bonded warehouse in the Aranguez area, the only machine that you can get cash in that area is that machine in Maritime Plaza, which, let me tell you, you need to beat that with a cocaine broom because you're never sure whether it's going to take your card, whether it's going to spit it back out because it vexed, and now and then when it's in a good mood, you will get the money.
Yeah, that's a temperamental. It's a Republic Bank ATM. It's very temperamental.
Yeah, that machine. Oh God, nah. They need to sweep out that place with a cocaine broom every morning. And somebody need to talk kindly to that machine. Behave yourself today, please. Because
I tend not to go there because it's too temperamental.
Yeah, I tell people stand there. What happened in Top Cash? I waited on the car to come back out.
Yeah, but that's a machine that if you don't go there early in the morning, you won't get no money by the afternoon.
Republic Bank, please. You must be making some profits at the end of the year. Please redo all of your ATM machines, please. And if you can, make them tap now. So
I see somebody post $1.1 billion profits. What is it? I can't be entity now. I said, what? These people making money. Or Prestige. Prestige announced they made 1.1. Oh, yeah, rare like chicken and pizza in this country. And Starbucks.
Oh, somebody's saying, hey, wait, look, somebody just said Republic Bank installed a new touchscreen machine at Maritime. It's a lot more reliable. I want them to put a tap. I don't want my car to disappear into the innards.
Nemo is saying it has a tap feature. He's saying it has a tap feature.
Does it have a tap?
Yeah.
I haven't gone there in a long time.
A new touch screen. Oh, it has the tap feature. Okay.
You'll have a great day. Avril is reading the news at 8. She's back.
She is?
Today, be safe, be happy, and do something kind for someone today.
Yeah,
what is that Oral Roberts used to say, Steve? Can you remember Oral Roberts?
Who?
Something good is going to happen to you today.
Oh, there you go.
Hi.
There you go.
I didn't really know it. My mom told me about it.
Yeah. Now you're geriatric on the program.
Something good is going to happen to you today. So anyway, something good is going to happen to you from Ash Wednesday to Sunday, which is Trinidad and Tobago Carnival Comedy Week, where we'll have Nikki Crosby on the Ash Wednesday, which is also Valentine's Day. And it's a great show to see for Valentine's Day because she does talk about love and marriage and all of the issues that goes with that. She also talks a bit about sex too, of course. And of course, then you have that's from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And on the weekend of that Carnival week, you also have Back in That Bubble and Bad Behavior on Saturday at 8:30 and Sunday at 6:30. All of these shows at Central Bank Auditorium. Tickets go on sale soon. I would let you all know when they're out. So anyway, have a fantastic day. It is Thursday, so the weekend begins tonight, people, at a second after midnight. Have a fantastic day, whatever you do, and we'll speak to you bright and early tomorrow morning. Remember to smile and laugh. It's good for your health. Hopefully you got some of that here this morning.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, Richard. Of course, Wendell will join us tomorrow morning. All right. AV is going to grace us with her voice this morning. It's been a while, so let's get into our 8 o'clock news brief.